Hello everyone, Phoenix Knight here. Welcome to the channel, and welcome to a new playthrough on the channel. After our misadventure in Anne's End last week, let me just see if I can turn the camera just a touch here. Perfect. We're going to jump back up in our German Night Fighter as we play Night Fighter Ace by Compass Games. This is another Gregory Smith design in the vein of the Hunters, but as mentioned, it has us in control of a German Night Fighter in the skies of World War II. We're just about to start on our sixth sortie, I believe, from October 1943. So rather than spending a lot of time setting the table for this, what say we jump right into it and get into this sortie. First up, we need a target. So air raid chart on October 43, that'll be a 2d6 roll. That's a 6, and this raid for a 6 is taking aim at Bremen yet again. I think we had at least one sortie that would have been using Bremen as a base target. Right, we don't have to worry about anything in terms of the moon state, but we do need to roll for weather. That is a D10 roll. That's a 4, so we've got plenty good weather on. We've got plenty good weather for this raid. Now we need to roll for random electronics failure, and then we'll see if we fall for a spoof raid. First up, we've got random electronics failure, which is another 2d6 roll. That's a 10, so our secondary radar is out, but we don't have secondary radar, so no effect. So effectively, no effect. Alright, so now we move to Bremen, but we have to see if we fall for a spoof raid, which is on... I must not have pulled that... Oh, that chart is still in the box, because I'm a dunderhead. Okay, so... I think we can bring Cthulhu down here. We'll put that chart all the way up there. Raid is targeting Bremen. And we need to see if we fall for a spoof raid, which will be on... Okay. So that's another 2d6 roll. Let's grab my pen so I can note this in the sortie log. We want to see a 2 to 9 on this one. That's a 7, so we don't fall for the spoof raid. Okay? So now we're over top of Bremen. We'll roll for interception, which is a D10 roll. That's a 7, so no interception. I'm going to bring this over a little bit closer. I don't think I'll need any of my counters tonight. Next, we'll be moving into Munich. Actually, let me see if I can bring my logbook down over here. That's a 4, so that's another no interception. Then going into blank. So this is the last box before we've got to put this bird back on the ground. That's a 2, so once again, no interception. Now we go right into landing. So now we're trying to land this thing. And we have another 2d6 roll that we're looking at. We don't have any kind of modifier here. That's a 10, so we managed to put it down just barely. Nice quick sortie on that one. Didn't have anything going on. Got October 1943 7, so we've got our 7th sortie of the month. We do pick up, and we don't pick anything up as far as experience goes on that one, but it was another quiet sortie. So now we're looking at our 7th sortie for the month of October. A 5 says the Allies are going after Hanover with another Bremen starting point. All right, we'll start with our weather roll. All right, just going to double check the moon state. We do have a dark moon. So we're looking at -1 on, we're looking at a -1 on interception rolls. Okay, just making notes in my log so I keep it all straight. 1 is once again good weather. Random electronics failure. Next roll we need to make. That's a 2, so other electronics, which looks like it's no effect. At least I believe. Yes, that's what it looks like. So other electronics treated as a no effect. And now we have to see if we fall for a spoofer aid. That's another 2d6 roll. As we move over top of Bremen once again. That's a 2, so we don't fall for the spoofer aid. Now over top of Bremen, but remember, we're making all of these rolls at a -1. That's a 5 -1 is 4, is still no interception. Then going over top of Munich. Nine -1 is 8. The -1 brings us down to no interception. The blank box. Four -1 is 3. Once again, no interception. And our landing roll. We just set off and we're already looking to put this thing back down on the ground. Which a 4 will do nicely. And another quiet, so I forgot to note it in the log. Another quiet sortie. We've gone up on 20 different sorties over the course of this campaign. We've got our last sortie for October 1943. And we have to note that this time we're going to be we have no moon, so we're making our interception rolls this time at a -2. That's an 11, so this time the Allies are after Stuttgart over top of Munich. Make a note of that in the sortie log. I expect this to be another quiet set of sorties, but we'll find out. Oh, wow. It's not going to be a long one either. Rolling for weather. That's a 9, so we've got bad weather that we're flying up in. Checking for random electronics failure, which is a 2d6 roll. $12, uh-oh. Random event. I think this is the first time we've had a random event throughout this entire career. So now I'm rolling 2d6 on the random events table. Alright, that's an 8. Bombing interferes with spare parts. The American and British campaigns have combined to interfere with the availability of spare parts. At the end of this sortie, any damage your aircraft has sustained is not repaired. You may choose to fly the next sortie damaged, or lose a sortie on the ground while waiting for the parts. If undamaged on this sortie, this event has no effect. Okay? Making a note of the roll. So we'll see what happens on this sortie. This is probably a great one to have that come up, because we are looking at a -2 sortie on interceptions, or a -2 modifier on interceptions. But first, we need to see if we fall for a spoof raid. We fall for a spoof raid and we lose 1 endurance box, so we skip right to the blank box. Okay, we'll see if we get any kind of interception. Remember, our roll here is -2. 7 minus 2 is 5, no interception. And now we've got a landing roll, but we're rolling 2d6 and we're +2 to see if we're +2 because of the bad weather. That's a 5 plus 2 is 7. We still have a safe landing. So the random event of the American and British campaigns interfering with spare parts doesn't turn out to impact us at all. Definitely very welcome there. Another quiet sortie, but we did fall for a spoof raid in that one. So now we're starting our first sortie of November 1943. Which necessitates a change in our target chart. So as we were rolling, so as on the raid chart, we had been rolling on October 43. We're now rolling on November 43. Maybe we can actually get something going on in this raid, or in November. Funnily enough, it is almost November as I'm recording this as well. Well, it's not almost November, but you know what I mean. 6 says the Allies are coming after Berlin. Not a big surprise there. Alright, we've got another dark moon, so we're looking at a -1 on interception. Start off with a weather roll. Which is 7 is just barely good weather. Checking for random electronics failure. 2 says other electronics, which is another no effect hit. All right, good weather. Once again, it's a Berlin raid. So we'll move over there, and then we see if we'll have to see if we have to see now if we fall for a spoof raid. That's a 5, so we don't fall for the spoof raid. So now looking over top of Berlin. But remember, we're looking at Dark Moon, so we've got another... We're looking at a Dark Moon, so we've got a -1 on interception rolls. That's an 8, -1 is 7, no interception over Berlin. Moving over to France Bremen. Again, a -1. 8 -1 is 7. Once again, no interception. Coming over top of Munich. Three -2 is another no interception. And the blank box. That's a 10, so we have an interception this time. Actually, yeah, 10 -1 is 9, but that was a natural 10, so that is an interception. So for November 43, let's see what we intercept. Wow, we're actually going to get some combat this time around. Three says we've got a Lancaster H2S that we're going after. Okay. Now let me... Okay. So we'll bring the bomber target sheet down. We'll start off at long range for this one. Lancaster's got a speed of 14, so we have the initiative. Actually, I believe that's how that works. Let me grab the combat. If target speed is greater than my Night Fighter's speed, but Lancaster's a 14, I'm in a 17, so interception can occur. Okay, well, we're going to be firing with the forward guns. So starting from combat, long. Forward guns, we've got 18 power going at it. We'll spend one of our 3 ammo. And then our combat card that we draw for this one dictates the order of who fires first, I believe. So we have to choose an aim point. We'll take care of that in a second. Okay, so we're going to aim at the... We're going to aim at the port wing. Okay, so this determines who's firing first. Actually, yeah, so once all these choices... Yep, we're using forward guns, and we're aiming at the port wing. So now we flip a card for the first combat round of the pass. Follow the instructions for damage inflicted and who shoots first. Alright, we're not spotted, so we fire first, and then the bomber will begin to corkscrew on the next round. So by the next round... All other combat is considered to be... Okay, so it looks like the... Looks like the round is the... Looks like the round is each range. Or is each pass. Okay, so now we flip over the next card. And we'll find the section for 18 power where it's the last, basically the last one where the number of the power that we're using is larger than the number on the card. So in this case we go to the 16 column and we get a GP hit. So what that means is that'll be a group point hit. So we'll inflict everything at the port wing. 3, 4, 5. But we also have to roll for a random gun since we're using more than one gun that we're firing here. So I'll deal with that after we roll the last hit. So we've got a controls hit. Since we aimed at the port wing, we've got controls, 2 engine hits. There should be a chart here for bomber damage. I've just got to find it here. Oh, right, bomber damage. Okay. So we've got 2 engine hits. Then we've got a port wing hit. And a random hit. So we'll roll. So I'll put a damage marker on the controls for the Lancaster. Then we'll roll a pair of random engine hits. We'll also put a hit on the port wing. Let's see, looks like, right, we've got 4 engines. So 1 through 4, 5 and 6 are rerolls. That's a 5. Engine 1 takes a hit. Oh, and this one is a... Right, long range reduces random hit by 1. So we don't get the... So we actually don't get the random... Actually, on a group point hit, would we get the random hit? I don't think so. Yeah, I believe it cancels out the... Okay, so generates 1 less random hit. Okay, so we don't get... So we actually don't get the random hit out of that. But we do get the second engine hit, which will hit engine 3. Alright, and then the defensive fire from the bomber will inflict 2 minus 1 is 1 hit. So we'll roll for that on the Night Fighter damage chart, which is on this side. We'll read them APA style. We'll roll the black for the 10s, white for the 1s. That's a 32, minor damage, so we just shrug that one off. And as this is our last box, we are definitely going to close in to medium range, which means everything is simultaneous. So now we read... Actually, we've got to roll to determine which gun is jammed. Oh, we roll the gun jam before. So either one of the forward guns will say odds E. Oh, so we've got to use the the machine gun 17, the one that's actually vulnerable to gun jams. All right, so that one's jammed. It wouldn't have mattered on the card anyway because we still got a group point hit even at 12. So now we'll take the... So now we'll go into round 2. We'll move down to medium range. The bomber is going to corkscrew this time, so we can reduce, or with 2 points of controls damage. Okay, so the bomber will corkscrew, which can... So the bomber will corkscrew, which will reduce... Which I believe reduces the hits by which I believe reduces offensive hits by 1. Let me see if I can find something about corkscrewing. How about defensive maneuvers? No. Nothing for defense. Bomber will be able to corkscrew, but that's not telling me what exactly corkscrewing does for me. Okay. This still isn't telling me. I believe corkscrews reduce hits. That's what I'm going to go with here. Unless might be something on this sheet. Yep, reduces a -1 random hit. Okay. So I did have a quick reference that it helped me explain that. So good to know that. Medium, once again, we'll use the forward guns. But we're rolling at only 14 firepower this time. So we'll take everything from this card, since everything is considered to be simultaneous. This time we get a group point hit, and they inflict 3 hits. So that's a group point hit. Which means we get everything there. So we were aiming at the port wing again. So this time we get another controls hit, 2 engine hits, a port wing, and a random hit. Which I'll roll for that once I resolve everything else. So there's the controls hit, a port wing hit, 2 more engine hits, which we'll roll both of these. Engine 4 takes a hit, and the 5 will be a reroll. 6 is also a reroll. Engine 2. So all 4 of the engines have taken a hit each, but we also have to roll for our random bomber hit since we were aiming at a wing. That's a 2, so that's another port wing hit. Which means the bomber will be shot down, but we have to find out what he's doing in response. Defensive fire, 2 hits. We'll get our APA-style dice ready. That's a 23. That'll be a starboard engine hit. Along with .42 is a port wing hit. So we get a little bit rough. So we get a little roughed up in the air, but nothing terrible. Port wing hit, but we do at least knock the Lancaster. We at least knock that Lancaster down. So that'll be another 1 experience once we come out of that. But we have to roll for landing first. Since we are in the landing box at this point, we don't have any modifiers because we didn't take enough damage for anything to cause problems. That's a 4, so we've got a good landing. Alright, so we'll be looking at our second sortie of November 1943 once I update my main log. So we've got 1 XP. We'll repair everything. Replenish our ammo. That was the previous sortie, by the way, where we would have had the problems with the parts, but no problems here since we actually managed to avoid taking any damage on that last sortie. Let's see, I do have something I want to unbox, so we're definitely we're definitely very early into this video. So we can go for at least one more sortie, maybe more than that. But let's see what I think as we get into... Let's see what I think as we get through tonight's sorties. Oop. That should be flipped there. Hopefully you guys are enjoying watching me fumble through piloting a night fighter up in the skies of World War II Germany. The next raid, 8 is Leverkusen over the Ruhr. Let's make sure there's nothing special on this one. Okay, so we're back in the hangar. Nothing special on the moon. We'll see what the weather's doing. Uh-oh. Socked in, so I believe there's a possible there should be a cancellation roll on this one. Oh, flight operations are just automatically canceled. Are we an ace pilot, though? We actually just made ace on that last mission, so I think... We just made an ace, so I think we are going to let the raid get canceled. I'd rather not try to fly when it's that dangerous out. So we will just cancel the raid. That's a may disregard, but I'm not going to disregard it. I am going to let the raid get canceled. Right. November 43, number 3. This one, we have a bright moon, so we're going to be making interceptions at a +1. Alright, let's see where the Allies are going this time. That's an 11, going right back to Leverkusen. All right, we'll start off with our weather roll again. Nine, uh-oh, that's bad weather. Which makes for +2 landings. All right, now we've got to roll for our random electronics failure. That's an 8, so no effect. Now do we fall for a spoof raid? We're all the way here in the Ruhr. It's probably going to be this is going to be a long sortie from the looks of it. That's a 10, so just... Oh no, we do fall for a spoof raid. -1 endurance box. So we move over top of Berlin and Frankfurt since we did get baited by a spoof raid. So we have a +1 on interceptions. That's a 6 + 1 is 7, still no interception. Moving over France Bremen. Eight + 1 is 9, is going to be an interception. Do we have the option of... Do we have an option that we could let it go? We probably do. I think we have to make at least one round of combat, though. So let's see what we've got coming at us. A 6 says we've got a Lancaster coming at us. All right, so we got the bomber targeting mat down here already. So we've got a Lancaster that's coming at us. We're going to use the... Do I want to just use the forward guns? Or do I want to use... Okay, if I'm using the forward guns, I have to use them all. So I think I will just use everything at this. So forward guns for 18. And then that's what we're going to be looking at here. So I'm going to aim this one at the... Let's go with the starboard wing for this one. And then we'll flip this over to determine combat directions. We're not spotted, we fire first. So we fire first with 18 firepower. The result here, we'll go to the next card. 16 is a group point hit. So I think now that I was looking at it, I'm just going to double check it, but I think we might have a case where if we get the GP, means that it has been done specifically to the aim point chosen, as well as a number of random hits. I think I ruled it the last time that we don't get the random hit, but I think we might actually get the random hit. I might have been wrong on that. So we'll go ahead and actually group damage table. Okay. I'm just going to double check this. And this does not say. So we're just going to go with giving, I'm just going to go with giving the random hits, and then since that is part of the group damage table. So we've got controls, engine times 2, starboard wing times 2, and a random hit. All right, I will get the, let's get the damage chits I'm going to need. So we had a controls hit, 2 starboard wing hits, roll for which engines take hits, 1 and 3, and our random hit. Oop, wrong die. I need the D10, not a D6. That's a 2, that's another wing hit. Which I think once it moves into the X, bomber meets its damage threshold or is all engines knocked out, it is considered shot down. So I think we are going to have to roll for that when we come back in. No, it doesn't look like there's any kind of roll for a confirmed kill. So we have a few awards here. So we have the Iron Cross. We're up to the Iron Cross First Class. Yep. Okay, so we should have both of the Iron Crosses already. But we did down that Lancaster. And because of how combat's structured, because of the wing hit, we knocked it down and the bomber didn't get to fire back on defense. So that was very welcome. I'll leave the damaged chits right here. Then we'll move over top of Munich. Still a +1. That's a 3 + 1 is 4, no interception. And the blank box. Yep. Four plus 1 is 5, no interception. Then for the landing roll, because we had bad weather, we're looking at a +2 on the landing table. Okay. +2 for bad weather. That's a 5 + 2 is 7. That's still a good landing. So we did manage to pick up an experience. We picked up a kill. We picked up a kill and an experience from that. We should have... Let's see. Right. We should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 experience. I've not been paying it. Okay, so we do have the Iron Cross second class and first class. Alright, we're so far at 7 experience with Schultz. And I think we're going to fly... Ooh, we got a full moon sortie coming up, so we have to be careful on this one, because a full moon sortie might get canceled. And actually, I think there's a pretty good chance that a full moon sortie does just get canceled. Let me double check that though. This is a full moon, then roll a d6. Okay. So we'll set up for November 43-4. We'll roll for the target. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully you guys are enjoying me play around with Night Fighter Ace, and thank you for stopping by, spending part of your Wednesday night with me. Alright, that's a 5, so the Allies are going after Berlin on this one. Making a note on the sortie log. We'll make a roll on the full moon table just to see if the raid gets canceled. On a 1, the raid will get canceled before we even roll. Oh no, we roll for weather first, then we make the full moon check. Three is good weather, but now we have to make the full moon check. If the D6 is a 1, then raid gets canceled. Otherwise, we have a +2 on interception rolls tonight on this sortie. That's a 6, so raid is a go. Moon goes to full. So now we proceed like normal. We'll go to Berlin, but we have to make a roll on the random electronics failure table. Five is no effect. And we'll start over top of Berlin. Is there anything else? Berlin and Frankfurt. Making the roll at a +2. That's an 8 plus 2 is 10. We've got an interception. Let's see what's coming at us. Seven, we've got another Lancaster coming at us. Okay. Once again, we need this target mat right here. Okay, we're going to use all of our forward guns. That'll be 18 firepower. Drawing a card here from the combat deck. We're not spotted, we fire first, and the bomber gate begins to corkscrew. We fire first, and now the card coming out of the deck. 16, we get a group point. Oh, we were aiming at the starboard wing, which is where I usually aim. And we get a group point hit. So that's controls. 2 engine hits. Starboard wing. And a random hit. Actually, 2 starboard wing hits. So, let's see. 2 starboard wing. Controls. We'll deal out 2 engine hits. Engine 4 takes a hit, as does Engine 2. And then our random hit. That's a 2, that's another wing hit, and once again, we'll shoot the Lancaster down. Because we picked up 3 wing hits. So another nice job there. We'll clear all of those out. And then we'll move over top of France and Bremen. Still at a +2. Two plus 2 is 4, no interception. Moving over to Munich. Nine plus 2 is 11. Uh-oh, we've got a bomber stream. So bomber stream, we have to keep rolling for interceptions until we decide to break off. Let me just double check how bomber stream works. 7.1.5. The first target is considered to be okay. So it looks like we've got a merit. It looks like we've basically got an endurance round. So target 1. Two is another Lancaster. Okay, we'll use all of our forward guns again. Up to 18 firepower. We'll aim at the We'll go for an airframe hit just for something different. All right, card here says we fire first. Ooh, that would have been a great card to get once we decided our hit. But our card up here is we get 5 hits minus 1 is 4. Okay, so we're aiming at the airframe for something different. That's a 5 for a controls hit. Nine is a starboard engine. Starboard should be one of these two, I believe. Either 3 or 4. Actually, we'll just go odds evens. So engine 4 takes a hit. And we said 4. 7 is no effect. That's unfortunate. And 1 is an airframe hit. The land... Hold on. That was annoying. The Lancaster will inflict 4 minus 1 is 3 hits. Because remember, we're at long range to start this one, so we're rolling for Night Fighter damage. Hopefully I'm still alive, by the way. It looks like OBS blipped on me, so can you guys confirm in the chat if I'm still live? Actually, I'll tab out here. I'll tab into YouTube and see what's going on here. See if I've got anything. It looks like I'm still live, so we should be all good here. Now we've got to roll for our aforementioned hits. 55 is an airframe hit. Hopefully we won't have too many more of those. That's a 63 for a crew injury. Let's see, we've got a pilot. Actually, we've got a few people. Pilot, Funker, and Borched. All right, so we'll roll 2D. We'll roll the 2 white D6 for who's affected, and the black for how serious it is. Ten is the board mechanicer, but he's going to just walk that one off. So let me just write that. I'm just making a note of that. Light wound. And the last hit that we end up getting hit with . 35 is another airframe hit. That could be a problem. We'll find that out soon enough as we'll close into medium range. We'll use everything again. And this time combat is simultaneous, so we'll take 1 card for both. Card up here. There's another 5 hits for us, and then 3 hits on defensive fire. Three hits, defensive fire. So, bomber damage, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Night fighter damage, 1, 2, 3. All right, we'll roll for the bomber damage first, because we're probably breaking off after this round of the bomber stream, since we're out of ammunition after this. So we forgot to determine we were going to stick to aiming at the airframe. An 8 is a port engine, odds evens. Engine 1 takes a hit. Three is an airframe hit. Two is another airframe hit. We might be able to... Oh, we got to inflict 2 more airframe hits to knock a Lancaster down. 4 is a random wing hit, which is a... We'll just call that a port wing hit, since that's usually how I do odds evens. Port wing hit, and 3 is another airframe hit. 1 short of being able to knock down the Lancaster. So let's see what the bomber is able to inflict back on defensive damage. We were at medium range. 35 is an airframe hit, which means we're probably getting shot. I think we are getting shot down here. That's unfortunate. 31 is a starboard engine. But yes, the airframe is already out, and that's enough. That'll be enough to get us shot down. And the last hit, 12 is a port wing hit, which, again, having the airframe knocked out is plenty to get us shot down. So port wing, we are shot down, which means we have to try to bail out. Excuse me. Oh, we do have to check for bomber credit. I haven't been paying attention to that. Anyway, so we're shot down, which means now everybody's got to bail out. Pilot. What are the ranks here? The Funker and the Board Mechaniker. Alright, so we're on a D10 roll here. +2, the Board Mechaniker took a light wound, so we'll roll for him first. That's a 5 + 2 is 7. He bails out. Funker. 9, he's killed in action. And how about the pilot? That's a 5. He'll bail out. And then we are going to lose a sortie while we get back to base. We'll roll for the credit on the Lancaster that we shot down on our 24th sortie. So we will get 1 XP from that. We need a 1 or 2. Oh wait, I think we only roll for the credit if... Looks like we only roll for the credit if the bomber crashed on the way home. Yes, we only roll for that on if the bomber crashes on the way home. So since we are losing... So let me double check, but since we got shot down, forced down, missed the next sortie. Yep, okay, so place an R. So we are going to lose the next sortie. So we are going to lose the 5th sortie in November. But I think that is a good place to call it a video for Night Fighter Ace tonight. I'm going to start picking this up, though. We are not done just yet because I got a delivery in from Amazon earlier tonight that we're going to go ahead and crack on the channel. I have been really enjoying my plays of Night Fighter Ace, and it helps that this is a very heavily narrative-focused game where I can really get into telling the story. I haven't done it too much with this playthrough, but there's definitely potential to get into telling the story with your pilot. You've probably heard me start, if you've been around the channel, you've seen me start doing that with my playthroughs of MAG-23 Guadalcanal, and I've even started a session of Call of Cthulhu where it's basically just me telling my own story in the Cthulhu universe. So I do really like the heavy narrative focus on these games. And that's what I really like in the wargaming world. So I'm kind of rambling a bit on that, but that's just kind of how my mind works when it comes to these war games. Is the more I'm into the narrative, and the more it feels like it's my narrative to write, I tend to like those games a lot more. Whereas, and I've talked about this before, but with a game like Atlantic Chase, I played that a couple times on the channel last year. But once I started to understand a little bit more about, okay, I like where I'm able to write the narrative necessarily rather than having it written for me, I'm actually receiving that a whole lot better in the wargame world. But again, mildly rambling on that front. I'm just doing some pickup here before we get into our impromptu product unboxing. Alright, buddy, you can go back there. I just got this delivery in from Amazon earlier tonight. I saw something on Amazon Prime Big Deal Days that I was like, okay, this is way too good to pass up, especially with what I'm looking at getting into here. So once I catch up on my phone, we'll go ahead and crack this open and see what's in here. Where's the pull tab here? That should work. Yep. Okay, and in here, whoa, yeah, definitely heavy. But in here, we've got the slipcase package for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition. I mentioned getting into solo RPGs. I've got a Game Master emulator that I really want to try with Dungeons and Dragons. Actually, there's a few other games that I've got as well that I want to sink my teeth into, but let's see what's all in here. We'll go ahead and tear this open. I've not had a good relationship with Wizards of the Coast over the years, but as I'm starting to get into solo RPGs, I figured I'd give the big beast a shot, and I figured with everything you get in here, this was $70 on Prime Big Deal Days, and I was like, I ran it by a buddy of mine at work who also plays D&D, and I finally came to the decision of, you know what, $70 gets me all of this. That's too good a deal to pass up. So we've got the, and actually I believe it's all foil cover, so we've got the Dungeon Master's screen here, which I'll probably need more, again, for solo stuff, where it's got all of the descriptions in here on how everything works, all of your conditions, setting a difficulty, probably a difficulty modifier, Okay, very cool. Actions you can make in combat. Wow, the Dungeon Master's Guide with a special foil cover on both sides there. The Monster Manual with the same foil cover there. And the Player's Handbook, so that is very cool. And I'm looking at getting some more stuff off of DriveThruRPG that'll help me out with my solo RPG experience. I've already got the Mythic Game Master emulator that I want to use. That's system agnostic. I can use that with any system I want. I've also got the Solo Investigator's Handbook, which is how I did my Call of Cthulhu session from Sunday this week. And I'm going to be picking up some stuff that's specific to D&D 5e. But that will do it for this playthrough of Night Fighter Ace. Busy week coming up on the channel. Tomorrow night we're stepping back into my 1972 NFL season replay of Momentum Football with a critical AFC West matchup as the Oakland Raiders will be visiting Arrowhead Stadium to play the Kansas City Chiefs. Saturday, Mystical Munchies will continue out of the official Catan cookbook as we make the side, 7-grain bread. Sunday, we're going to continue our RPG tour as we play the Legacy of Cthulhu. Thank you for watching the video. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on notifications so you get my content. Be well, stay safe, take care of yourselves and your loved ones, and I'll be back with more videos in the future. Until then, take care everyone.